Hey everyone, welcome to my first video. I'm going to just make this short and sweet. I'm going to be doing some videos about my weight loss journey, about my relationship with food, and the things that have changed in my life over the past year and a half. Well, we're almost going to 2 years now in August. That will be my anniversary. I have had a crazy journey so far. It stemmed from getting sick. When I got COVID, my internal organs failed. I was 460 plus pounds, and it led to my gallbladder failing. And during that process, my liver was enlarged. It was about 3 times its normal size. You could see it protruding through my skin, and it was extremely painful. While I was working, I would have days where I would be coughing up blood, just from the amount of swelling, because every time I bend or move, I was basically pressing into it, and it was extremely painful. And so when I did that, I didn't really have a lot of options left. The doctor suggested a couple things and ultimately decided that the best way for me to move forward was to get the gastro bypass exit. And it has been extremely beneficial to my weight loss journey. It has really opened my eyes to a lot of things, but it also wasn't the solution. A lot of people felt like perhaps it was a cheat, or that by having this surgery it lessens my struggles, and I used to think that, and it kind of put me in a bad mental place for a little bit, because I did kind of feel like that because I had that surgery, it sort of lessened my struggles, or it lessened my accomplishments. And that's not the case, because it's a tool, right? It's the same thing as a pill. It's the same thing as, if I was to go buy some weight loss equipment, a set at the gym, everything's a tool. You can use it to your benefit, or you can't use it. And it's a surgery that, yes, it's a little bit more drastic when I abuse it, but the reality is that over time I can reverse it. I can re-stretch my stomach. I can do all these things that have a negative impact on my health and well-being. So it's not the fix-all that some people think it is. It's definitely helped me because I've leaned into it heavily, but the ultimate goal was to help me lose rapid amounts of weight, because I was morbidly obese at 400. I think at this point it was like 470 when I got out of the surgery, because my whole system was shutting down. My gallbladder was failed, and I had to wait 21 days for my surgery because I was COVID positive, and they wouldn't allow me to go in unless basically I was dying. And I didn't have to go in early. I waited the full time, but during that process, that bile that was being dumped into my system as my gallbladder just seeped, it's the only way to describe it, my liver picked up the slack, and it processed all of that, and my kidneys were inflamed and overworked. So when I went in for my surgery, it was an ordeal. It wrapped around my gallbladder. So if this was my gallbladder, it literally wrapped around it almost twice. My liver was so large he couldn't get to it. They had to do a second set of holes on the side to come in with another set of laparoscopic tools. I don't know, that's the best way to describe it, but what ended up happening is one doctor lifted my liver up and pulled it open so that he could get in there and get to my gallbladder. So they did that, and luckily he got to it, so I didn't need that cesarean, because that would have been a massive step back. If they had to have cut my abdomen open, as any woman who's had to have that happen will attest to, it's a long process to heal from that. But I didn't have to do that. I was lucky. My doctor was pretty amazing, and I'm very thankful that he was so skilled that he was able to do it. But that's not, that wasn't the ultimate goal. They did the gastric bypass in it to help me retain organ functions, because if I had the ability to keep abusing food, I possibly might have, even after the surgery, because that was my crutch, right? That was my, for lack of a better term, my addiction was food and my relationship with it. But the surgery allowed me to see the dysfunction I had with it, the massive amounts of food I was eating. My portion control was insane. I mean, when I look back at the amount of food I used to eat, the mental hurdles and the mental block you have to justify your bad choices. It's no different than a drug addict or an alcoholic, because I was eating massive quantities of food and massive quantities of terrible food. But somewhere in my mind, in my logic, I was explaining it away as like, that's not the reason I'm overweight. It's something else. It's got to be, but I'll save that for a different video. But yeah, it's a tool. It's no different than a set of dumbbells. It's just internal. There's the sleeve and there's other things, and all of them can be reversed if they're abused. All of them can be potentially fatal if you don't follow a more structured lifestyle. And my hurdle now is not necessarily how much food I eat, but it's the food I choose to eat and my relationship with it. And that's not because I'm leading an unhealthy lifestyle now, but that's a mental struggle I'm having. That's the fat I have stuck up here in my head. It's the way I see myself, the way I perceive myself. I still have those fat boy struggles. I still have the plumpers. I still have those moments where I just want to go out and buy a bunch of candy or a bunch of chips. Like, I want to load up on carbs and sugar, because I know it'll instantaneously make me feel better. In that moment to eat it, I'll just have that endorphin rush that'll make me feel instantly better. And then after 5 minutes, not even that anymore, because I've made my body so sensitive. Sometimes it's as quick as 20 seconds. I will regret my choice because I just feel so sick, and I'll feel so lethargic, and I'll just literally, I can have snot streaming down my face. Like, it's not good. But that's that's the barrier I have now, is I'm not that fat boy anymore. I'm not 475 pounds. I'm down to 250. And the reason I'm there is because I didn't believe in myself enough, that I set low goals for myself to get to that, because I thought that was all I was able to achieve. And it was almost like I had this mindset that just getting to 250, getting down to 275, getting under 300, like those were almost impossible. And that's what I want to make a lot of these videos about, is that mental struggle and those mental hurdles that I'm still combating today, that I'm still fighting against. And it's a constant daily battle for some of it, right? And that's not something I see a lot when people talk about physical health, is the mental health aspect. It's coming along. There's a couple ways that people do it. But, when I was growing up, that's not how people combated obesity. That's not how people combated being overweight. There was a lot of shame, and there was a lot of crash diets and a lot of things that I tried that never really combated my biggest hurdle, which was myself and my lack of empathy and love for who I am as a person. And that's abundantly clear now. that those are the struggles that I still have today that I had as a overweight 12-year-old when I went to school. You know, that's something that I want to explore. And it's something that I was afraid to explore before. But I'm going to do it. And I'm going to do it in the most public way possible. Because I feel like it's needed. You know, there's no other way to put it, is my physical health was a direct response to my mental health. Or lack thereof. You know, if I'm being honest, it's most definitely the lack thereof. And so that's what I'm going to try and combat. And that's what I'm going to attack, and that's how I'm going to change not just what's outside, but what's inside. And that's a weight loss journey that has been 40 years. I'm not 40 yet, but I'm right there. So I'm going to have a reverse midlife crisis, as some of my friends have put it. And I want to share this with you because I feel like it's something that doesn't get shared very often. And maybe by bringing it more to light, normalizing it to some degree, or letting people see one set of struggles that maybe you identify with, that maybe you feel, or maybe that you're on your journey and there's some comparable moments that will help you in yours. And I've had a lot of people reach out about how I can help them lose weight or the things that I've done. And I've thought long and hard about how I want to present that, and how I want to really make that accessible. And I think this is the best way. So that's my goal, is to bring light to a different side of nutrition, to bring light to a different side of physical health through mental strength and mental health. And I want to do that on a very public forum because it's going to make me more accountable. But the thing I hope the most is that by sharing my struggles and doing it now while I'm still overweight to some degree, and doing it now while I'm still struggling to combat those things, I'm hoping it'll make it more relatable, because I'm not that super cut, super ripped guy telling you that you gotta put that burger down, you gotta put those fries down, otherwise you'll never look like me, because that's not my goal. It would be nice to look like those people. It would be nice to have the 6-pack abs or the 8-pack. I don't even know what I, can get to, because I still have all this extra skin. But I'd love to get there. That would be amazing to look like that. And maybe one day I will. But this isn't about that. This is about finding a new self within myself. This is about finding a new strength that lifting weights is never going to give me. And this is about finding a new level of mental health by really identifying and deep diving into myself. And it's a little scary, but I think with your guys' support and love, and with a whole lot of honesty, something great can happen. Not just for me, but for you as well. So here's the first video on my journey. And I hope you're there for every step. Alright guys, have a great night.